The project is led by Dr. Samaya Nasiri. She's a professor in the civil engineering department. And basically what we're trying to tackle simultaneously is the need for low carbon concrete options, as well as trying to find use for Almond co-products such predominantly shells, but also a fraction of the hulls, mostly the pollinator hulls.
Right.
Yeah.
And what you're creating here are pavers, essentially like cement pavers, but you're making them with slag.
Yes. So essentially the combination of granulated slag and almond ash would function similar to your typical Portland cement, which is to say that when you add, you blend them in certain ratios, and when you blend them and you add water, it'll harden like Portland cement would.
Yeah. Have you seen these in use yet? Are you giving them to people to try? Are people purchasing them? What's being done with them right now?
So right now we're in the process towards, at this point it's still, to use a technical readiness level scale, we're in between lab and pilot. So we very likely we will be piloting this at a paver facility probably towards summer. So at this point that's the plan.
And then market them?
And yes, possibly, yeah.
And then, what benefits do you see out of this? I know you mentioned the CO2. Maybe talk a little bit about that, because I know that's obviously something really important that the almond industry is focusing on.
Yes. So in the instance of, specifically in the instance of construction materials, most of the CO2 emissions come from, if you just take a typical concrete mix, most of the CO2 emissions, about I'd say between 80 to 90%, come from the production of Portland cement. So if you substitute Portland cement with, as in this case we're doing with the combination of granulated slag and almond ash, you reduce the CO2 emissions considerably. So that offers, let's say in this case paver manufacturers, a low carbon alternative. For the properties that we've tested until now, it's performed similar to Portland cement concrete.
So good for the environment and good for the almond industry.
Yes. So in the case of almond industry, the assumption here is that the combination of the shell and the hull is used as a part of generating energy, like a cogen facility. And some of the ash that we use comes from a select harvest facility, which is in Robinville, Australia. It gives us a good, because it comes from a scaled 3 megawatt facility, and it comes from a facility where actually energy is being generated. It shows that what we're doing is scalable. Mm-hmm. Right.
So they're doing this over there too?
They're doing this over there too. Okay. So that's where I do prepare ash samples in the lab from California feedstock, but for some of the larger scale work I wouldn't say tons, but at least in kilogram scale. So
we will definitely keep an eye on this as it goes forward. For My Ag Life, I'm Kristen Platts.